Welcome everybody to yet another Coffee Time with Hako, the show where I have my morning coffee and then I pop into the void. Well met everybody, today we're having a latte in the Ellen mug. Look at this absolute piece of goddamn art. Lovely. Available in the store. Now, what are we going to talk about today in 81? I think it's episode 81, right? Well, I want to be talking about the main story of the 2.2. So, spoiler discussion, so if you haven't done it, yeet. Because I want you to experience this story for yourself, because it was a really, really good one. I thoroughly enjoyed it, played it live, and I got to experience it with a lot of you peeps. And quite frankly, I think that the momentum that they built up during the 2.1, they keep delivering on that. I think the storytelling was slightly better in 2.1. Like I'd said, 2.1 is the best story we've had since 1.4. Just with the way the story was being told, how we were introduced to Spook Shack, etc. But from a lore perspective, there was more stuff I feel happening in 2.2, actual lore implications, furthering along the story. More in 2.2 than we had in 2.1, but the storytelling was slightly better in 2.1. And I would consider 2.1 to be one of the 10 out of 10 chapters, together with the 1.2 where we met the Caledons, and together with the 1.4 where everything kind of culminated. I consider 2.1 to be on that quality as a 10 out of 10, and then I would like to put the 2.2 story at an 8.5 out of 10. I think the 2.2 had a little bit of a slow start, and it definitely picked up towards the end. Obviously, we had some big reveals. We found out that Isolde is not a playable character. I kind of thought that she would be. She is instead, the Miasma Priest, and she also then turned into the Defiler. So she is both the Miasma Priest and the new Defiler boss in the Deadly Assault. She does this for the sake of revenge, and, we once again get the lesson that The Last of Us 2 taught us, that vengeance only leads to, more hardships and whatnot, is not worth it, etc. We got some more tidbits in how the creators chooses their servants, and it seems to be, whoever they hecking want, that seems to be able to progress their goals further. And we also got the reveal that the next one, the next powerful being that the creator has chosen, seems to be Sarah. I know a lot of people are excited about Sarah, so maybe we'll finally, see her do something, and it's gonna be cool to see what kind of power the creator bestowed upon her. It also got revealed at the end that, what's his name? The guy with the glasses from the temple, is it Yeshuan? Something like that. He seems to be a bad guy, teamed up with Sarah, and seems to be connected with the Exaltists. Now, all the people were thinking that he might be playable. I feel like they've been foreshadowing his sister so much, so I think she's gonna be the more playable one out of them. And now we have a segue to kind of get her into the story if her brother has defected and this has become known, she wants to get her brother back. I also think that the brother was carrying the Xingming sword at the end panels of it. So that is very interesting. We also got to meet Shiao, which is the little bunny that we saw in the 2.x drip trailer, and she's one of the last characters from that trailer to actually be revealed as playable characters. Now, she looks kind of cool, and she's definitely one of the most unique characters that we've seen, when she becomes playable, very much breaks free from the mold of what we've gotten before. I tried to scout around her and kind of get a feel of what element she might be. Obviously the moon, maybe ice, but yeah, I feel it was hard to tell. Maybe she's gonna be a new element altogether. And since we properly got to see her now for the first time in the 2.2 story, I'm kind of expecting her to be one of the 2.4 agents, with maybe possibly the sister to Yeshuan or whatever his name was, being the other agent if the story chooses to go that way. There's also some more interesting nods towards the moon. It plays a vital point during several of the cutscenes, the battle stages that we are on in the 2.2 story. Also, Shiao is very much moon focused, a lot of moon ornaments, and I think she as a character takes a lot of inspiration from the Chinese moon rabbit mythos. And to me, the moon is the one thing that keeps getting focused on everywhere we go, even if we're in a Holo Zero or whatever. In most stages, we can see the moon in one shape or another. Now, what really stood out to me is that the stage where we fight Isolde, the Defiler, it shows the moon with different colored craters. Usually they're kind of, well, let's show them off in game. Usually they're kind of your normal purple, but in the Isolde stage, they become green. Was you just notice those stars? Well, hold on. So I have so many clips of me just looking at this moon and talking about it, so I can like go back and double check this. Not sure if this is common knowledge, but these craters, they did not used to be green. I assume that this is something that happens after the main story. I actually did not know that. I thought it was just, you know, just that boss stage. But no, the moon is permanently changed after we've done this main story, which is very, very interesting. And I very much feel like at some point, we're going to the goddamn moon, 100%. And it wouldn't surprise me if Season 2 culminates on whatever we're meant to do there, or if it sets us up to start Season 3 on it. So, does that mean that we're gonna get hot alien fire ants? Yeah, probably. And let's not forget that the story probably had us getting to know both Seed and Orphe. And I gotta say, I do love the dynamic, and they really brought all those squad together. Now, I feel like Soldier 11 was in most scenes just as background, I was gonna say background noise, but she didn't have much noise going on, and I feel like you couldn't be blamed if you didn't even remember that she was a part of this story, because it didn't really feel like it. But I gotta say, Seed as a character, or Flora, she is so goddamn adorable, like super sweet, like just super fun. She's one of those characters, she just fucking cracks me up. And Orphe, I'm really liking Orphe. Like at first, I thought that she just looked like a badass, that she kind of came across like Corin, but honestly, Orphe is this like perfect mix of a badass when she needs to be, like she can, be assertive and she can be confident, but she's also like very goddamn sweet. I feel like there's a lot of nuance to her, and I really like that, and like her relationship with Magus, like her Dale. They make for some interesting agents lore-wise, and honestly, I think we're gonna be getting some really, really freaking dope trailers for Orphe's strip marketing, which should begin in just a few days. And speaking of Orphe, I've been busy testing her out on the creator server for most of this week, most of last week, and I've got a bunch of like really exciting videos planned, talking showcases, guides, and answering your questions like regarding Orphe. So stay tuned for that. Our NDA lifts this weekend. Everybody, as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a big hug, and until next time, Hako out. Also, what do you think of the moon being green? What does this signify? Why is it green? And had you noticed that before maybe everybody's aware of this and I've just been living in Orphe hole and just not, been aware that this is not common knowledge. But yeah, moon is now fucking green. This just hit me while I was editing. I didn't even mention like the final battle with the Isolde, just how fucking beautiful that was done. It kind of reminded me of like the end boss fight sequence from Metal Gear Solid 4. And I think it was done really, really well with like Orphe battling Isolde, and like just take that compared to when we had to like solo fight with Vivian in the 1.7 story. Absolute goddamn cinema. That part of this story, absolute 10 out of 10, and I hope we see more clashes and like storytelling like that, because that was beautiful. Everybody, until next time, Hawk out.